So today our first panel is on overcoming imposter syndrome. We've all been there. I mean, here I am speaking into a microphone, feeling like an imposter at this very moment. But it creeps in. It's kind of like that little monster that's telling you to doubt yourself. Before we get into all of this, I'll just say how I overcome that myself, because I'm not sure if I'll have time to speak. These ladies have so much to say. I think of the other side of that and think of his little enemy friend or slash friend who's kind of on the other side saying, you can do this. You know, so when that little monster creeps in, I let the other guy creep in and kind of remind me that you can do it. So just kind of keep that in mind. You should have the double side. You have the little monster who's creeping in, but you have the other guy who can kind of beat him up and tell him he needs to hit the road. So we have our beautiful panelists, and I'm going to have them panel their intro themselves. So ladies, if you could name business, how long you've been in PJ, and one word that describes how you feel or how you felt when you first started.
Hello, my name is Alyssa. My business is Collective 222. I've been doing PJ for like 3 years now. I would say fraud in McDonald. That was nice.
The question is, yes, describe how you felt when you first started, whether it had to do with imposter syndrome or not. Just like describe how you felt, what the vibe was.
My name is Mandy Dormeyer. My business name is 2 Daisies Permanent Jewelry. And I've been doing permanent jewelry for almost 3 years. And I was excited when I started the business.
Hi, I'm Dana, founder of Stones and Findings. I'm a wholesaler of permanent jewelry supplies, and I do a lot of YouTube videos. I've been doing jewelry for a long time before permanent jewelry. And in starting, I felt that the word imposter syndrome wasn't around, that I knew that I just need to do it. So it wasn't, for me, it was no choice. So failure was impossible to probably the right way to describe it.
Hi, I'm Nikki Novak. I'm from Colorado. The name of my business is Adorable, and I've been doing permanent jewelry for about 1.5 years. When I started my business, I felt silly, to be honest with you. It was something that I really wanted to do, but I cared a lot what other people thought about me. And so I was, I don't know, a little bit like embarrassed, but mixed with excitement. So I was afraid to put myself out there. Since overcome that, obviously.
Hey, I'm Jen Marion with Golden Wings right there. I have been doing PJ for a little under 3 years. And when I started permanent jewelry, I was excited. Having said that, I was a business owner prior, so I've been in business for 11 years. So if I were to take it back to the beginning of business, I would say I was like very much scared shitless. So didn't know what I was doing. I was scared. I didn't think I was good enough. All the things that we talk about with imposter syndrome. So by the time the permanent jewelry started, I definitely was in a different mindset at that point. So it's a journey, especially if you're just getting started. So I would say excited.
Hi, I'm Melissa Peter, and my business is Melissa Peter Metalsmith. I do a lot of education on tools and tutorials of jewelry making. As far as permanent jewelry, probably 4 or 5 years now. I was kind of one of the first ones with Sunstone that I remember the Sunstone guys came to me and they're like, hey, you're in a permanent jewelry. And I was like, what is that? You know, and before we knew what it was, we were like, is it like piercing? Is it a tattoo? What are you talking about? And so then they told me, oh no, it's where you weld in clothes. As a jeweler, I was like, what? That's not none of them. So my daughter, she got to me like guinea pig. I'm like, hey, you want permanent jewelry? She's like, what's that? I'm like, here, I'll show you. And I built the first bracelet on too. She was probably, this is a no-no, but she was probably like 12. So don't do that. It's 12 year olds. Michelle liability course. Anyway, so, you know, I would say my first reaction was to be bewildered. So it didn't have anything to do with imposter syndrome at that point. I just was like, what? So that's my reaction to permanent jewelry to begin with. But I've been around for a while.
All right, girls, so let's get into the chat. So where we're going to begin is, what was your first who am I and who am I moment? And how did you push through it? Or how do you push through it when it comes on out of nowhere? Who am I? I jump in.
Oh yeah, I'll jump in on that one. Let me tell you guys. So it's been a very interesting ride for me. I never set out to do what I do, why I'm in this industry at all. The best way for me to learn something was to teach it. And so as I got into, well, I guess they don't want to hear my story. Is that on now? Okay. But anyway, so is it still?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So the best way for me to learn something is to teach it. So as I gained all these jewelry tools, I'm like, what do you do with them? And then I started to teach them in my blog, and then eventually on YouTube, and all of that kind of stuff. And I work in my studio alone, like it's just me. And so when you're in your studio alone or your space alone, there's some pretty nasty inner dialogues that happen sometimes. And for a long time, I've fed those and listened to them. And like every now and then, like that nasty little monster creeps back in. It's like you're not worthy, you don't know what you're talking about, nobody listens to you, nobody pays attention. Oh, you don't need to get a video out, nobody cares anyway. And so I listened to that for a long time, and then finally I was like, no, wait, I'm not bad at. I'm like powerful, and I can handle this. And so you have to start to overcome that in order for you to progress forward. But I think the first step, I can't tell you first step, sorry. But the first step is recognizing that's there, and recognizing that just because you said it doesn't mean it's true. That's like the biggest thing I think.
That's a good point. Like just because you're thinking it doesn't mean it's true. It's like
Just because somebody else said it,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's true.
very good point.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important also to have like people that you can turn to, because like you said, when you get inside your head, that we can let things fester and take it as facts, and they're definitely not. So it's helpful to have again, protect your peace. You got to figure out who is good and who isn't good to maybe talk about these things with. And even if it is a bestie, but they're just not, in that area of your life, the best person to talk to, that's okay. It doesn't mean see it forever. It's just we can't talk about that with you. So finding those people you can really talk to, and literally, if you DM me, I'm pretty good at voice memo. You guys voice, I voice memo all the time. So I'll get you elevated a little bit and remind you that honestly, and this is the thing, it's like, who am I moment? It still happens. I don't care, even a year ago, I never thought I'd be in business where I am now. I really didn't. I have brick and mortar now. I didn't really think that was my, my immediate future. And I still have those moments. It doesn't sound like all of a sudden I'm we think that comparison bias is definitely a thing. Or we think, oh, when we get here, we'll just nothing about us. When we get here, it's like, it always, I don't care how much money you make, how many followers you have. It doesn't, it's always going to happen. So I think, like you said, recognizing that and just not letting it tell you, again, these are facts or thoughts or emotions, does not mean it's literally, there's a couple books I actually want to talk about. The Untethered Soul is a great book that talks about this. It's basically with feeling your emotions and kind of moving beyond them and processing them. It's just, that book keeps coming to my mind about that because it's such an important read and to really put that perspective. But who am I moments?
Before you speak, I hope that everyone finds their PJ bestie while they're here.
Yeah.
That person that you can say, call up, send a text, and give them your dumb idea, or great idea, whatever, and they understand where you're coming from. So I hope you make those connections while you're here, because that's a huge part of what this is all about. I texted Ashley this morning, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I've never moderated a panel before. And she's like, you got this. So you need that person on your side who's going to be your ride or die, especially one who's in the trenches and knows what we're going through, what we're dealing with, and all of these things. So that I hope you find while you're here.
I have lots of who am I moments. Like right now, I'm probably the only face and name up here that you guys don't know. So you didn't know me. I have them all the time. I think the thing that kind of helps me push through it is knowing that if you were not capable, you wouldn't feel like an imposter. How many customers have you had that come up to you and say, "Oh, this is easy," or critique the styles that you have? It's because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. You know enough to be different, which is why you feel like an imposter. The other thing that I think is really helpful for me is mantras. I've been really trying to find mantras that resonate with me. So one of them that I tell myself is, what's meant for me can't be taken from me. Now there's still work that has to be put into it, of course, but I repeat that to myself frequently because I feel intimidated a lot. So that's what's me.
Well, you don't look like you feel intimidated. You're doing great, right?
So I can't really answer that question because I've always had who am I to this day. But I want to tell you that recently, so I'm going to be 53, and late last year, I finally went and got myself diagnosed. I have ADHD to an extreme, actually, and that explains so much struggle, so much of everything, so much. And I am finding that artists, PJ artists, have that also to various degrees, and they might have struggled in other things. But I think you should not allow that to stop you because there are superpowers, and you see a lot of people who are highly successful, and you just need to realize I need some self-discovery to find the superpowers. That's all that I think it takes.
Nice.
So, the passion of the book of Berlin. So my first kind of like, who am I, or who am I to be doing this moment? Okay, so I was a hairstylist for like 17 years. And I never really had that when I was a hairstylist. I became a business owner in probably 2007, but I just like leased a space in the salon. It wasn't like I owned the salon, I was doing this big thing. I just went to work and did hair and whatever. It was also kind of before social media was a thing, so I wasn't really comparing myself to other people as well, because that's a thing. And then I started doing permanent makeup, which I still also have to do. That's where I first kind of got this high pressure, like tattooing people's faces, you know, and like wanting to make sure that I wanted to hold a high standard for myself, and making sure that I was doing that. It was quite a question, you know, like, am I meeting like the highest standard that I can possibly do? And then when I started my permanent jewelry business, I didn't really feel it until I started teaching other people. And when I was teaching people in person, I didn't really feel like when it expanded online, and I was like exposing myself to like all of these people, then kind of like fear and you know, questioning myself, comparing myself. Am I good enough? Am I reaching my standards that I have that are like way up here now? And like we all keep saying, like those voices creeping into your head. And I think I was aware of imposter syndrome so long ago that once it really started to creep in and I heard the voices, I was able to recognize it. You're saying you have to be able to know that what I say, like, I'm like, bitch, like that, like that's what I tell that girl, because it's like we're two separate people, you know, like there's the Mandy that's like the bad bee, and there's this other like entity that lives inside my brain, and like I can't listen to her. And then something also that I do is I think about what other people say about me, like friends and family and even just people that I've met. online, through Facebook groups, who are like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Like, wow, you're doing this whole thing, and like, you have this business, and like, I'm just so impressed by you, it's so amazing. I'm like, that's me too. Like, they're telling me that that's who I am. Like, I have to believe them and like not listen to that other person that's in my brain. Like, just don't listen to her. So when you hear that voice creeping in, like, just know that that's not necessarily you or who you are. You don't have to be that person that is saying those things to you.
Well, it's like that little imposter person who's knocking on your brain, telling you all those things. It's like they're jealous of the you that's succeeding and wants to pull it back. So it's like, let's pull that back a bit. So think of it even like that. Be like, I'm gonna let her pull me back. I must be doing something right because those little thoughts are creeping in. So
Fear of your potential too. Like,
Right.
because if you grow in the way that you want to grow, you're going to have to do more, work more, expand more, grow as a person, grow as a business owner. And those things are hard and scary. So
who are you to be doing those things? It's like, can I do that? Should I do that?
yes.
I think that has always been there for me. I am and always have been my hardest and worst critic by far. I think so it's always been no, but being invited to speak in places or collaborate with big businesses or big events, things like that. Like, do you guys, it's me, right? Is this the right account and messaging? Is this like, are you sure about that? But I'm just trying to be like my true blue, authentic self 110% of the time. And if that resonates with people, that's it. Like, I just have to fully accept myself, and I just try and find that voice. Pretty aggressive with that bitch, so.
That's good. That's good. You have to be aggressive with that voice sometimes to get anywhere.
We are our own friend.
I'm sorry?
We can be our own friend.
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. So, in this aspect, how do you handle, do you fake it? You know, do you prepare yourself? Like, what is your go-to? Do you fake it till you make it? Or do you own what you're doing and grow? And then when that little guy's creeping in, that's what makes you better? Or give me a little insight on that.
I do both. Take it till I make it, and then I own it. You know, like some things are easier to own, and then other things, like, sometimes if you're eloquent enough with your speaking, you can totally fake it. People don't know. And then then it really comes back in and like, do they know? Then am I in trouble? You know, so like I said, I do both. And when it comes to teaching and things like that, I don't know if you guys have found this, but I find out how much I really actually know. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I do my shit. Sorry, I cry. I know what I'm doing. So that's some of the things that I would.
So with that voice or having doubt in yourself, actually, give you some statistics. 70% of North American adults have reported at some point that they felt they were inadequately trained or qualified for the job at hand. That's a lot. So you need to recognize that. It's not just you. Everyone is feeling it. And when you recognize that, and research has found that one of the easiest ways to combat that is, one, to be easier on other people. You think easier with yourself, but actually you want to be easier on the other people. And you want to approach them and you can say, oh, that was really good. Or, this is good. Then you'll find that that person that really, I didn't know my hair, my voice, etc. And then you realize, actually, the people you think were really great on a pedestal have the same feelings I have. Then you start to realize, you realize that's normal. And then you're now able to have a dialogue with yourself that, hey, so-and-so who I respect, admire, has the same thing, that this is what it is. And when you are nicer, easier on other people, you now are able to be easier on yourself. That's the start.
I know, I want to say that, because like, I just, the biggest thing about this that I feel that it's just so normal. Like, I think sometimes we think we're thinking things that no one else is thinking. And honestly, going this to imposter syndrome, I read somewhere that she regrets, like, calling it a syndrome because it's so hard. It's an experience. Like, it's literally just an experience you're going through, which we all go through as human beings. And so it's like really realizing that that's why it's so important, I feel. So, and I'm obviously a talker. I like to talk. But like, you know, I just think that because it's helping. I mean, honestly, I'll like just chat in with a friend and I'm like, as I'm talking and processing, I'll be like coming into my phone, right? But it's like, that's why it's so helpful to have somebody to talk to. Or even if you have to talk to yourself, that's fine too. You know what I mean? Like seriously, speaking out loud is like such a different experience than letting it simmer in your mind. Like when we always think we're not ready, if you think we're gonna wake up one morning and just be ready, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna happen. Like it all happens with action, with talking out loud, with processing it. I mean, and really in the end, just like that's why I've shared really like hard things that happen in my life publicly because, and I don't regret that at all because it's a crazy who comes out of the woodwork and is like, thank you so much, I just went through that myself. And to know that this is so normal and these are literally just human experiences and really the only way we can gain confidence is just by doing it. Like I can say I'm a totally different person than when I started this 11 years ago. Do you think it's because I sat and thought about it for 11 years? No. I like got up and did all the things. I made a ton of mistakes. I, was vulnerable. I asked for help. I talked to people, and that's how I feel I've gotten to a place where I'm at now. Where now it's like it's not easier. Like I said, I don't think it's like you get to a point where like, oh yeah, I can just do whatever I want. What do you mean? Like, oh yeah, no, I'm always like me. Like, but you're more schooled in like dealing with those emotions, right? You're more familiar with it because you've done the actions, you've grown so much, you've taken big leaps where you're like, okay, I'm familiar with this. I know how to deal with this. I know how to get beyond this. I built confidence. And that's the only ways I found, for me personally, it is action. And is by literally speaking and sharing. Because I think so many times we think that, again, we're the only ones. And it's so not true. Like the crazy thought you're having in your mind right now, guaranteed someone else is thinking right now. Like even like, oh my God, my girl is like, what's she talking about? Someone else is thinking that too. So it's like, it's okay to like talk out loud. Like I said, find your besties. And if it's not a bestie, literally go in the mirror and be like, I feel this way right now. But also clarity. It's like, you need a journal, but it's actually asking yourself a question. Like, so if you feel you're not good enough to do something, sitting down and being like, okay, when will I be good enough? When will I be good enough? Like, what's the answer to that? You know what I mean? So if you can't make the concrete answer to that and like actually list off these things of when you're not good enough and really challenging those things. And if there are concrete reasons, then okay, take steps towards those. If you really feel imposter syndrome and imposter experience, right, is valid. So it's like really trying to question and get clarity around why you feel.
I love this so much. I feel strongly that you just have to do the dang thing. That's the only way you're going to get over an imposter experience. I like that. I want to piggyback on a couple things that I heard. We experience this at every level. It doesn't matter who you are. Just quick show of hands. Is anybody a basketball fan, like an NBA fan? Okay. So, Jimmy Butler.
I got one.
We got two items. I saved this because it resonated with me so strongly. Jimmy Butler is an NBA player competing at the highest level. He's competed literally for the championship. And he said this quote. He said, "I'm not a God-given talent. I ain't the best shooter. I'm not the best ball handler. Not the most athletic. Not the fastest. But I battle. I fight. I'm tough as shit and I don't back down. There's my talent for you. I'm not scared of nobody." And I love that because it really reminds me a lot of what these two were saying. Dana's saying you have to find your superpower, even if that superpower is just your grit. You're an ability to push through. And that we have people competing at the highest level that are feeling that same imposter experience. So you're not alone.
Grit is an amazing superpower. And we all have it to some degree. It's just allowing that to flourish and just going for it. You're never going to know everything. You're never going to be able to figure out point A to point B. You just got to kind of do it and have the ability to have confidence in yourself and the ability to pivot. And know when that little doubt creeps in, to be able to tell yourself, I'm not gonna listen. I can do this.
I'm going to say this because actually this is a trick I like, when you talk about like the bad and the good kind of side. So I call my alter ego and I've actually named her. Okay. So you know how like, well, you know how like Anthony has Sasha Fierce. So I named her Gemma because I love gems. Okay. So like, that's like the good side of me, right? And then, you know, I didn't really name the bad side, honestly. I don't really think that. I don't
Miss Trunchbull.
Miss
Trunchbull.
So I feel like it's helpful to name that and really like be able to like put a name to it and say, okay, Miss, what is it?
Miss Trunchbull from Matilda.
I Okay, so like saying, okay, here she is again, like I'm putting on my Gemma hat. You know what I mean? And just kind of like kind of separating those two is helpful to me. And this one sounds like you say these things out loud, but like they really do assist me. Kind of like giving a voice, right? Separating those things.
I'm just gonna kind of echo like everybody is saying around.
Water's dripping from the ceiling. I don't know if there's anyone in that department. Is helping.
They talk like right before
Water dripping. No shower needed tonight.
But anyway, like massive action, like seriously, like when you're scared about something, you can either just sit in your fear and be paralyzed, or you can take action to do the thing. And if that action means you have to go out of your way to like learn new things, take certain steps, just do it. Like just do. And I used to be the kind of person that I would have to have everything laid out in my mind, steps 1 through 47. It would have to be complete in my mind before I could even take step 1. And I realized how stupid that is. And all you have to do is take step 1. And then once you're done with step 1, you figure out what step 2 is, and you can go on and on and on. And maybe in your mind, you know what step 20 is going to be, but you have to figure these out. You just have to go. You just have to go and do, and it just kind of snowballs, and you'll figure it out, and it'll be fine, and it'll be what it was meant to be. And then, what else did I say? I can't remember. I'll come.
Jay Randolph is one of my mentors, and I used to be like full of confidence, but I don't want to fake it, so I'm like, I got this. And he and Tony really helped me transition to more of a face it, like make it, and kind of own that, have more accountability, and really just like face it with confidence. So that helped a lot.
That's a great way to look at it. And facing it forces you to make it and do it and kind of just figure it out.
I remember what else I was going to say about processing. And I only discovered, like, in the last year that I am a verbal processor. I did not know that I was a verbal processor. And, like, I will, like work on it on certain people in my life. And I have some people in my life that, like, love to hear it. And I just will do, like, a 20-minute long voicemail. And they're, like, so happy to hear it, you know? And I've discovered, like, I'll like at the end of the voicemail, I'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me ramble on like this, because now I've solved my problem. And for whatever reason, like, when the thoughts are only inside of my brain, I can't work them out. And they're just like doing this, like pinballing around inside of my head. For some reason, they come out of my mouth. I'm able to like just piece things together. Yeah. And so, so maybe you're like me and you didn't even know you're a verbal processor. So if you have a problem and you're like, thinking about doing this thing, or if it's something you're scared about doing, I don't want to do this thing, but like it really makes me scared. Just find someone to talk to about it and like lay out all of your thoughts, good, bad, and ugly, and just see how it makes you feel. And if you find that you've worked it out without getting any feedback from the other person, then you know it's inside you.
You already had it. Yeah, you just had to work through it. Yeah. So what, if you could talk to yourself day one, go back and talk to Mandy day one, what would you tell yourself now? Day one of anything. I mean, day one, it could be life. I mean, even when we become a parent, we think about becoming a parent, that imposter kind of comes in. Who am I to be a mom? Who am I to, care for a new human? It can creep in at any aspect of your life. So if you could go back and kind of talk to yourself, say 10 years ago.
I mean, I really think it is the action thing instead of just taking the steps. Like my
She's being waterboarded.
my husband actually is probably the main person that made me realize this. When we were when we only been dating for like 2 weeks. We only been dating for like 2 weeks, and I got a divorce and bought a house myself, and I really wanted to have a tax collection in the kitchen. And of course, I needed to like know how to do it. And I told him, and he was like, "Let's do it. Let's like go to Home Depot tomorrow morning." And I was like, "I'm looking, we'll do it." I was like, "What? Like, what do you mean? Like I'm gonna have to like spend all day YouTubing, and I'm gonna have to like learn how to tile and do grout muscle." Okay, let's just do it. So we woke up, and it's 9 a.m. We woke up, got the tax collection. It took us till 2 a.m. We did it, and that was like the little beginning. And then we did the same thing, except for it was buying a house. And he looked at this house without me, and then he's like, "Babe, just go look in the windows after work." And I went, and it was like creepy, old, broken down, run down, old house. And I was like, "No, I'm insane." And he's like, "Give me one." And so we did, and we like bought this house, and we completely remodeled it and turned it amazing. And I never thought we could do something like that because I didn't think I knew how to do it. But we just did it. We just did the thing. And like I was saying before, you just take the first step and the second step, and the third step, and then
So that's what you tell your past self, just take the step, just do the thing forward, just do it.
like get out of your head and do the thing. That's it.
Dana, what about you?
I think oftentimes many of us carry baggage from our childhood. And studies have shown that a lot of people who have imposter syndrome probably grew up in a family where their parents had high expectations. Maybe there's perfectionism that they've witnessed, and so, or there's traditional love. It's very difficult. So, what actually really works is one way to leave that behind is to step out when you're talking to yourself. Step away and see without thinking about past failures or whatnot. Look at yourself, what you've achieved, what you're doing, what your goals are, as though you are someone who doesn't know anything about your old self. In that way,
Little Dana, baby Dana.
can be more objective in seeing, and then you ask yourself, hey, if I was to meet this person who's doing all these things, would I have admiration? And then that way you can be more objective. And the reason why people actually have imposter syndrome is so prevalent amongst high achievers is you actually care about the work that you do, the quality of parenting. You care, and that's actually the first step to success. So recognize that in a way, this imposter syndrome with all the bad things it can carry has a treasure, a gift in itself.
Yeah, because imposter system doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're growing. It means things are happening, change is happening, you know? So it's a good thing. Anybody else?
I'll just say real quick, do yourself a favor, buy Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable book. Buy it right now, listen to it on your way home, it'll change your life.
Just wait.
Everything is figured out.
Repeat that, darling.
Everything is Figure Outable, Marie Forleo.
The Big Leap is a good book too. So that talks about your glass ceilings. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, where it's like you're not going to do anything outside of what you think you deserve, right? So we have this glass ceiling, and we can't see this glass is clear, right? So we keep butting up, and then we kind of do things to sabotage ourselves, which kind of plays into imposter syndrome, right? And so I'll read that book once a year. I love it. It's a good reminder. It's such an easy read. And The Big Leap, The Big Leap. And what piggybacking on what Dana said, because with childhood things, I mean, I think of that sometimes too, the way I feel like I was brought up to a lot of expectations. But I have to say, I have 2 daughters, 4 and 6. My 6-year-old is just a born perfectionist. And so that's why I think too, again, that's why it's getting very and recognizing and ask yourself these questions, maybe where does that come from? Everyone talks about, oh, you could do it with anything, money mindset. Like, okay, are we brought up to think about money? You know what I mean? All these things, right? But I have to say, sometimes things are just innate. And for some reason, we're born as perfectionists. Like, I have to say, like, I'll just tell her, like, well, maybe trying that, we should, oh my God, that's stupid. Like, she'll go off on I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's like I'm ever, like, or doing that wrong, you know? But she's always been that way. And it's literally, it's funny because I just know it. It's like when you have children, you just see that. It's so evident. Because, right? Like, they are born the way they're born. And there was like, I do not, treat that one differently than this, where I'm like, you're not doing that right. Oh, you're perfect. You know what I mean? So, and you're like a Goldie who's like, doesn't give a, she's like, I do what I want. Even if you think I'm doing it wrong, I don't care. I'll do it anyway. Right? And then you have Harper, who is, again, she's like, literally will get to the point where she's like, you don't even love me. And I'm like, oh my God, I just said, please put that toy in the right place. Like, you know what I mean? So I just feel like sometimes it's like recognizing those things, whether it is for childhood, whether it is something you just always had in you, really. We all are such different beings. And I think we process the imposter syndrome experience differently. You know what I mean? Some of us will be like, we're not ready, that's the way we do it. Or we, sabotage ourselves. Or, there's so many different ways you do it, and you process that. So, again, it's so much about awareness, obviously. Like, I think.
I want to touch on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Actually, it is very true that there is innate, there's a genetic component to it.
Yeah.
And we evolved because our ancestors have survived because they were anxious, aware, alert, doing a good job. And somehow that has come down. However, we have caught up in evolution to recognize that there are not that many dangers now. So we need to dial it back. Yes, there is a genetic component, and we just need to recognize it and move forward and call it.
It's called doing your inner work.
I know, so much inner work, you know what I mean?
It really is. You gotta do that. If you don't take care of you, who is going to? Right? And so here's a fun little fact about me. When I was a kid, you guys, I was the ugly kid. I had no friends, I was bullied, and that stuck. That stuck with me for a long time. Do y'all want to talk about imposter syndrome? And then people started wanting to have me be the face of their ad campaigns, their videos, all that stuff. And I'm like, what? And it's a thing. There's been a lot of inner work going on. To be finally to the point where I'm like, you know what? I deserve where I'm at, and I own it now because I've seen 22 years. I have worked my butt off. And I'm like, you know what? I do know what I'm talking about, and I do understand that. And I do now recognize when a voice is not meant to be listened to, right? You try to start to pick up on those subtleties. But again, if you have not done any of your inner work, you're not going to recognize that component of it is the most important. Because then when you are okay with yourself, then everybody's going to be. And, like I said before, I kid you not. Like, when the fact that we're all sitting up here, I don't know about you, but I was kind of like, yeah, I'll be on the panel. So you want me to be on the panel? And then there's another component too. It's kind of funny. Like, I have no problem getting up in front of audiences, live television. I have no problem whatsoever. But I still get stage fright sometimes. I didn't today because I like y'all. But I still get a little bit of stage fright. The heart palpitates, and you're like, oh my gosh, what if I trip? And what if I make a mistake? Or what if, right? And then I just kind of have to stop. You take a deep breath, and you take that first step. And then you also have to be willing to be flexible, that if that first step stumbles, that you're okay. It's totally okay. Like, how many times have you ever made a mistake and some people are like, and then we all die. Right? You either go that route, or you can be like, oh my, it's a design change. New path. Right? And so you kind of
just have to think it's not going to kill me.
Right.
I'm going to figure it out. It might be messy, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to get over it.
Gone through bankruptcies or whatever else, and they're like, well, that sucked. Let's pick it up and go again. Right? So you get to determine, does it destroy you? Or was it, oh, look, I got a learning opportunity. Let's do it again and not make that same mistake.
Yeah. that's where it's at, especially recognizing not to make the mistake or kind of pivot from it and realizing you're learning from it. So before we have probably about 10 or 15 minutes, I kind of wanted to open the floor. We have a microphone here. If there's something you want to just vent, kind of make yourself feel better, you have a question, you have a comment, we would love to hear from the floor, like telling us a little something. I mean, something. Somebody must have something.
Until somebody has a question. Can I just interject? This is specific to PJ welding. A lot of artists, they get nervous at events. I need to tell you, people are still going to buy jewelry from you. Oh, be okay for you to weld on them, even if you didn't have high school friends, or you carry 5 extra pounds on your thighs. It's okay. It's about them. You can just be, you're going to be okay. And you need to tell yourself that before going.
I have something. Will you come on up so everyone can hear you? Parade yourself through the crowd. There you go.
I have to say that everything y'all have said is resonating with me. First, I'm 61 and I have ADHD too. And it is crippling, but you get over it. You pick yourself up and you go on. But here's where I am. In December, I bought 2 welders and I bought 2 lasers. I haven't touched them because I'm still trying to figure it out. And I still think, okay, Valentine's Day, I'll do it better. You know what? I was freaked out at what chain do I buy. I don't know what to do. No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Mother's Day rolled around. I got this. No, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I just don't know. And I told my husband when I saw this that I have to go.
So glad you're here. Me too. Oh my
No, me too. And this morning I got up and I need to go through this, and I procrastinated about coming. And then I realized, oh, you have work to do, because I'm here from San Antonio. I live here. And I thought, no, just work this morning and go this afternoon. But I kept telling myself, oh, but you got to get this done, you got it done. And I always said, get up, get dressed, and leave. And I got to tell you, this hair, this is what I put my hair in when I got in the shower. I got in the shower. That's good, that's good. So, thank y'all for everything you said, and I downloaded the book while you were talking.
Yes, so there are 5 different kinds of imposters, I guess, like 5 different ways to manifest itself, and yours sounds like the expert. You can't do it unless you know everything, and everything's perfect.
Sounds good. Yeah.
It'll never be perfect. That's the thing.
It's not, and that's okay. It's just, it's okay.
It's okay.
And what you're doing by standing in that like idle zone, you're making a decision to do nothing. And do you really want to do that?
Well, time's passing regardless, right? That's what I always tell myself too. Time's passing regardless, so I can either do it now or I can, you know what I mean?
Or you can stay idle and do nothing and then think about that. That's your choice. I'm gonna be idle.
Another good book. Do you know Mel Robbins?
I love her.
Oh,
Just let them.
Do you read the 5-second?
Yes. I love her.
And like, even just like what you said when you're laying in bed, that's literally, guys, a psycho, I guess. I'll say it out loud sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, because that's also like better than anything. Because we say a million things in our head every day. I mean, millions, right? So to say it out loud, it's like almost feels like that's more subtle. We're like, okay, wow, I just told myself I did that. So
But anyway, I don't know any of y'all, but I love you.
oh my gosh.
Or even think about, would you say that to someone else? The things that you say to yourself?
For sure.
Probably not to
Exactly. Yeah.
But you're comfortable telling yourself all those things, but I'm not gonna say, hey,
And again, it's like all those things too, like that when you're like how you said, like being aware of like, yes, you're that person who thinks you have it, thinks they have everything's perfect for you, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's actually great qualities to that. Because I'm actually very impulsive and I'm the opposite. Sometimes I'll do stuff and I'm like, oh my God, and then I'm backtracking like, oh shoot, I don't even have time for these set up. Like, oh, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm kind of the opposite, sort of beautiful. But it's definitely, that's why it's helpful to find someone that's going to give you a lot. I have to say, Ashley, we talked a lot about who's helping me today. So she said she wanted to start permanent jewelry. I started permanent jewelry, I had a lot of jewelry experience. I was like, you know what, I actually want to help women start growing business because I've been through the trenches. I almost closed my Gucci business twice. I was like, I'll help you. She's like, Jen, there'd be no way I would have started without you telling me I had to get started. You know what I mean? Because she's that person. She will admit it all day long that she is never perfect. She has to have everything all tightly in a bow, and I'm the person who's like, where's the bow? You know what I mean? So like, just go. You know what I mean? So I had to like kind of kick her in the butt, and here she is. She's done.
I also want to say, words have meaning, and words program.
Yeah.
So don't say something if it's not nice, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you. Like,
Tell me something.
Right? So because
Yeah, think about it. If you would tell your mom or say that to someone that you cared about,
I say it's time to know how beautiful you are. So I'm going to tell you how beautiful you are.
Yeah.
And when you say that enough times, even if you feel like it's a lie, it becomes the truth. So if you sit and tell yourself a lie, it becomes your truth.
Yeah.
So tell yourself things that you want to be. What is it that you want? What is it where you're headed? You know, you guys, I'm a millionaire. I am a millionaire. Do I have $1 million? Not yet. But I'm a millionaire because it's going to happen. Why? Because I said I'm a millionaire. And the universe has nothing to do but give it to me because I declared it. Now I have to do the work to get it, but I'm a millionaire. Are you millionaires? Yeah. Have a head to say yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm a millionaire. Woo! You have to remember, words have meaning.
Yeah.
And put out there what it is that you desire. You know, and then
backtrack and make it happen.
Yes.
Because once you throw it out there, you can't be, a poser. So I got make it. You better become a millionaire. I'm gonna check on you.
I'm going to be 2.5 is first goal.
Yeah.
Not there yet, but it's going to happen.
Well, we always tend to think like, what's the worst that can happen, but what's the best second? You know what I mean? It's like switching that mindset. I do that all the time with perspective on things. It was funny because actually like yesterday, Ashley's sister said, what time do I get to wake up tomorrow? And I'm like, get to wake up? She's like, yeah, if you just start saying that, it's just now it's such a habit. It's such a mind flip. Like, I get to wake up tomorrow, not what time do I have to wake up tomorrow? You know what I mean? It's like, it's just that, those switches, right? Like, and it's like, I always say, like, because you're inside the jar, you can't see the label, right? So that's why, again, having someone who knows you and and reminds you who you are. You know what I mean? There's so many times we just let that stuff get fester in our head and we don't even know who we are anymore. So I think it's like helpful. Nikki, I mean, well, obviously, I could be like, hey, give me a little boost. You know what I mean? And like, honestly, I need it daily, I feel like, honestly, so.
Well, I mean, it's been pretty insightful, right? You guys feel like you kind of have a little look inside our crazy heads, well, at least mine. I can't speak for the other ladies. I can't thank you enough for being here, being vulnerable, and talking about this, because it does kind of feel a little uncomfortable sometimes, right? But that's your pivot. That's your first step, to kind of move forward.
And I want to say that the PJ community is great. It's unlike any other. And the original PJ community is so supportive. And I'm not sure if all of you are on it, in it. If you're not, please, I think you'll find a lot of support, and like-minded people are the best people to actually give you a true reflection or some objective opinion on how you're doing, and maybe sometimes you want that kind of feedback.
And if you have trouble finding your PJ bestie, we have little ladies here. Find us, send a message, that DM that you young kids do. Find each other. Yeah. I like smoke signals or a real phone call. But just reach out, because any of us would be there to support you and give you that little kick in the butt that you need. Because I like kicking people in the butt, because it helps me move forward. And you get that little competitive edge where you're like, I'm going to do it now. So reach out to any of us if you have trouble finding your PJ bestie, because we would love to be your support system. And thank you for sitting in on our first panel at PJX. Thank you.